Kyrie Irving missed last night's game against the 76ers and will not travel to Memphis for tonight's game either due to undisclosed personal reasons. The Nets are already without Kevin Durant, who was in quarantine after being exposed to someone who tested positive for COVID. Meanwhile, the Spurs took on the Lakers last night, and the game started with all the players and all the coaches with their arms linked. LeBron James would wind up leading the Lakers with 27, but the Spurs would actually hand them their largest loss of the season, 118-109. Now, meanwhile, last night after that game, both LeBron James and Greg Popovich addressed the riots at the U.S. Capitol. James begins it by wondering out loud what would have happened if the mob of pro-Trump supporters had been mostly made up of black people. Here's what he said.
We live in two Americas, and that was prime example of that yesterday. And if you don't understand that or don't see that after seeing what you saw yesterday, then you really need to take a step back, not even just one step, maybe 4 or 5 or even 10 steps backwards, and ask yourself, how do you want your kids, or how do you want your grandkids? How do we want America to be viewed as? How do we want to live, in this beautiful country? Because yesterday was not it.
Yesterday, I think the big picture for me was how it just laid bare the blatant, dangerous, debilitating racism that is our country's sin and has plagued us all these years. There can't be a better obvious example of a system that is not fair as far as justice and equal rights are concerned and protection of citizens. It was just right in your face, and anybody that can ignore that is a shameful individual, in my opinion.
In a video that was released last night, President Trump condemned Wednesday's violence and acknowledged that a new administration will be inaugurated on January 20th. Were Luka Doncic and the Mavs and Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. Pick it up in the fourth quarter. 3 minutes to go. Nuggets are down a deuce, and they're working it to the big fella, and it's Jokic from the top of the circle, and Jokic, he's not yoking around. Straightaway three. He scored 38. Nuggets have a 1-point lead. Now there's 8 seconds left. The man Mavs are down 1. Where are you going with the ball, Luka? Luka driving, dishing. Maxi Kleber, he knocks down the 3. Luka loves it. Mavs take a 1-point lead. Ensuing Denver possession. They need a bucket. Where are they going? It's Jokic again. Oh, he's so good. Game would go to overtime. In the OT, Mavs are up a deuce. And here comes Doncic again. Just feeling out the defense. This is where he just feels out the D and he finds the right man. Ultimately, Josh Richardson. Ice water. Mavericks are up 5. Now under 40 seconds to go. The Mavericks lead is 3. It's Doncic again, penetrating, finding a little space, knocking it down. He scored 38. Again, the Joker also had 38, but it's Dallas that wins a thriller, 124-117. Coming up here, back to football. How much is on the line for Lamar Sunday in Tennessee? We'll tell you why it is much more than a win or a loss. Plus, the rising quarterback in the NFL draft who reminds many of our analysts of Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, and it's not the name you expect. Plus, today, my poll question, which was posed yesterday as the team continues to prepare virtually for Sunday's playoff game against the Steelers. Quarterback Baker Mayfield says he's not worried about Cleveland's compromised week of practice.
If you guys, wind up not having a practice this week, what impact is that going to have on you Sunday night?
It won't have an impact.
Well, that's what he's got to say, right? And Kimberly Martin, you covered this game as these two teams played last week, and now you have the game this week. What is the latest as far as the possibility of them getting into the building today or at all before the game?
Yeah, Greeny, as I'm talking to you now, the building is still closed. We'll see if that changes later, but the Browns, as they've done all week, waiting to see when their facility will be allowed to be open. It's been closed all week. Baker Mayfield hasn't thrown a pass since last Sunday when I watched him beat the Steelers. And that's not a good situation for the Browns. But here's what I can tell you about their mindset. I spoke to Kevin Stefanski the night before their Week 17 matchup against the Steelers, and he said, look, my message to the team all season, even in the offseason when I was hired, was we've got to hit the curveball. We've got to be able to deal with unexpected things. And a few days later, he tested positive for COVID. So this is worst case scenario for the Browns, but these guys, they believe what their head coach has told them all season, which is, hey, when things happen, such as this week, we've got to roll with it. And guys still feel like they've got to win for the guys who can't play.
Yeah, so maybe that's a little bit of motivation. And if they needed more, maybe Juju Smith-Schuster gave them some more motivation, as he may have added some fuel to this rivalry with these comments about the Browns.
Nah, I think they're still the same Browns team out there every year. I think they're nameless, great faces. Yes, they have a couple good players on their team, but at the end of the day, I don't know, it's the Browns, it's the Browns. And that's just one of those things that, AFC North football, and they're a good team, but I'm just happy we're playing them again, this Sunday.
Oh, so we got trash talk. Oh, I got David Pollack laughing. I got Ryan Clark looking, I don't know, looks mad. Go ahead, David. What do you think of that?
Oh, I low-key like it because, by the way, he used Mike Tomlin's isms, the nameless opponent. I like that. He used the nameless opponent to actually talk trash. I don't know. I thought it was funny. I don't think the Browns thought it was funny, but, Juju's been known for dancing on the field and having the antics and Tomlin kind of reining it in. I don't think Tomlin will love this, RC. I actually think Tomlin will hate it, but I kind of like it. He was like, hey, Ryan, he was like, wait a minute, the Browns had a cute little season. Hey, little buddy, good season. Y'all going home this weekend.
Is that what that was, RC?
I mean, listen, Juju Smith-Schuster might as well have gotten up from the table, started walking to the bathroom and said, you know what, I'm going to finally take the Browns to the Super Bowl. Because that's basically how he was talking about this team. Listen, this was, David's laughing about, the nameless great faces, but that is the Tomlinism. That is something that he says, but he doesn't use it in that manner, right? He doesn't use it in this team stinks, they're a nameless great face. He uses it as, if we do what we have to do, we are going to win games. But I said it earlier in the first hour, you inherit this, right? When you walk into the building in Pittsburgh, there is no fear of the Cleveland Browns. You're going to get on that bus and drive to Cleveland and win a game. When they come to Heinz Field, you're going to win a game. That's something you inherit. That's something you breathe in when you walk into the Southside facility. And Juju just, he kind of kept it a little too real, or he just doesn't care. Juju feels like no matter what, if we go out and do our jobs, we will beat the Cleveland Browns. And Kimberly made a good point about what Kevin Stefanski said about hitting curveballs. Well, usually football throws you curveballs like I'm throwing them. I've had labrum surgery, rotator cuff surgery. If I throw a curveball, it's going to come right down the plate at 40 miles an hour. The curveballs they've received are Clayton Kershaw curveballs. And you need to practice and you need to work, because when you have those type of curveballs, it's just truly hard to hit home runs.
That's a very good analogy. But Bart,
Yeah.
I saw in your notes, you're the one person on the show today who gives Cleveland a puncher's chance on Sunday night. Why?
Well, just glass half full, because this is an opponent that they faced just a week ago. This is an opponent that's within the division. And I thought the Steelers had an opportunity to put them out. You know, the Steelers had an opportunity to choose their opponent. They could have beat Cleveland and would have allowed Miami into the playoffs. And sometimes you got to be happy with, be careful what you wish for. Because I can remember in 2009, the Cincinnati Bengals did the same things to us, because they rested their players. They beat us. We beat them. Then we went to their house and we smashed them because we got confidence. And confidence is a dangerous thing. So now you're thinking about, playing an opponent. And now Juju wants to gaslight, right? And it's one of those things. Juju, I know exactly where you're going to be, bro. So if I'm a defensive player, if I'm one of these guys, I'm going to hit him right in his sternum, just like the guy from the Bengals did before when he comes across the middle on one of these brackets. And I'm going to make sure that he crawls off, and I'm going to make sure that he gets no considerations of being a professional. If I got to hit him low, I'm going to hit him low. If I got to hit him high, I got to hit him high. If he got to go to sleep, then he's going to sleep. Because it's one thing to say, hey, you're going to beat me. It's another thing to try to rub my face in it. So as a professional, as a man, now you got to see me in between those hashes, because I know that's where you live. Guess what? That's exactly where I live as a linebacker. So we'll see if you're ready for all that smoke when you come in there.
Bart, you've been on fire this morning, man. What's wrong with you? Why are you so mad?
This is playoff part. I can't wait. Go ahead, Pollard, quick thoughts.
Can't wait.
Hey, well, first of all, two things. Have you seen the Browns' pass defense? I'd be talking trash too, but it's Bengals. Say it right. It's not Bungles.
That was for you. That was for you. No, talking about how we feel about within the division. That's what we call the Bengals. We call them the Bungles, man. Can't get right.
Bart Scott's got everybody ready to play this week. I love it. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Lamar Jackson is